For sure. Like, well, that's the thing about what, like, your energy is authentic, and it's not like a spiritual bypass, but it's easily um like why the fuck would anything else matter? Like, just feel good kind of thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Time flies by and I'm like, oh my gosh, holy smokes. It's just never ending. That's also something else. It's like you look up at the stars and it's like, holy crap, once we get spaceships and fly up there, and then from planet to planet, and then we see how big that is. It's just infinity and beyond.
Yeah.
Not
And
a
that's
flying
what's really
toy.
cool about, like, being able to tap into your essence, I guess, is that you can physically experience that, even though you're not physically, like, in this reality experiencing it. But there's like a complete disconnect, between, like, what's real and what isn't, whenever you get, like, to that place where you're just, like, so dropped in and so connected that you can actually be in the stars. Like, that's probably, like, I mean, even back to whenever you were like, how did you get into all this and stuff? Some of my most, like, breakthrough experiences have to do with accidentally being, coming out of my body and, like, ending up in the stars. And that's, like, whenever because I was like, so I grew up Christian, and then, like, I played acoustic guitar and sang in my youth group's worship band and everything. And then I actually started doing heroin when I was 16. It was, like, my first drug.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I got addicted to that, and it went on, like, a 10-year bender, where, on and off, but mostly on. And through that time, like, I became an atheist right after being a Christian, because I experienced some, like, hardcore trauma where my mom, like, tried to kill herself whenever I was 15. And I was, like, this perfect kid. Like, I I let my mom live her life through me, like, 100%. And I was a cheerleader, and, like, I got blonde hair and all this stuff. But after that, like, I moved in with my dad. I chopped my hair off, dyed it black, like, I wasn't allowed to wear black or anything like that. It was just, like, a couple of years later, I just became an atheist. And like, I had ghost experiences my whole life, and then I just sort of shut all of that off and became, like, this big old anarcho punk, and just, like, involved in the music scene in Houston, just, like, at shows all the time. And start drinking and stuff, which was never my thing, but I got arrested. And I was on, like, this probation thing, but like, you weren't even supposed to drink either. But so I got arrested a couple times during that too. I just looked at my mugshots because there's, like, this TikTok trend going on right now, since, like, people are in quarantine. They're like, oh, wonder what my mugshot would look like. I'm like, bitch, you want to see a mugshot? Like, let me show you.
Oh, no.
It is so bad. You'll see it. I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
Anyways, so yeah, like, went through this whole thing. But I think I was 21 when I finally decided to get help. So I went to rehab in Santa Fe. I moved from Houston, Texas to Dallas, Texas, then to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and went to rehab. And then I had tons of spiritual experiences there because I started, studying different religions and stuff. Like, first I tried to get back into Christianity. My mom, like, brought me my guitar, and, like, she printed out this binder of worship songs so that I could, like, get in the groove with it and all this stuff. It's like seeing it. There was nothing there. So the counselors there were like, the way you talk, I think that you would really enjoy this, that, or the other. And they gave me, like, The Power of Now, and then one of the other patients gave me Be Here Now by Ram Dass. And those two books, like, changed me on a core level. The Power of Now is by Eckhart Tolle. And it was my first real introduction with, like, things like impermanence and just being present in the moment and being in your body and experiencing, like, now. And yeah, it was a crazy experience. After I read Be Here Now by Ram Dass, I read it in like a couple hours sitting on my bed in the rehab center. When I got up, I went to go smoke a cigarette, but I felt like I was floating down the hall. Like my body was obviously walking, but there was like a part of me that was just like hovering above my body.
Mhm.
And it was the consciousness of, like conscious part of me. It was weird. Never experienced something like that before. So I guess that was in 2009. And from then on, I was kind of just hooked. But like when I was 15 or 16, I read What the Bleep Do We Know? And I became obsessed with like the beginner stages of quantum physics, and, just like how nothing is actually solid and everything's vibration. And
Oh yeah, that kind
yeah,
of
so
high knowledge, plus like Eckhart Tolle and those type of things. You gave yourself a lot of just ammunition, honestly, for your mind to think a whole new
yeah,
level.
yeah. And everything just like comes in. Gosh, I keep on having like a scratch in my throat. That's weird.
You better not
Everything
have the
comes in.
virus. You better not have it.
I do, like fucking coronavirus for sure. Or smoker cough. I don't know. Either one. But yeah, like I think everything just like kind of comes in at the perfect time. When I need it, or like whenever it's time for an upgrade, it just
Yeah.
happens. Like, when you stay open, you're just like a receiver for all things that evolve you. That's just how it works. But I don't know, like after going to rehab, I stayed sober for 2 years. I ended up having a baby in that time. And then like when she was 3 months old, I relapsed because like my partner at the time had already been using for, like the whole time I was pregnant. And
Mm.
it was just already hard enough to be in that environment and like stay in that environment. And then finally something clicked in me and I was just like, fuck it, like fuck it. Like I always struggled with like relapsing, especially whenever I was like more into like political activism, because it has that feeling of, like there's so much weighing down the world. And, you have that feeling that you're here for something way, way more than everybody around you, but you don't have any way to express that, or
Mm.
to like have any real impact. And I don't know, did you ever feel like that when you were a
That,
kid? Like, you're
yeah.
fucking doing it wrong, mom. Like,
Well, I definitely like that. That's feeling and statement you said. I mean, even through your going to church, because I did the same thing with like the youth group and helped out in adult groups. I mean, I would ask the right questions that got me kicked out the door. I would talk about
yeah,
aliens or giants or anything, real. And no, I definitely had like depression till I was 23, till I ate some fun things that were from the ground, and it made me finally like be like, everything does make sense. Like I am something for more, because like that not feeling fulfilled. And
hmm
like whatever it is, like your 9 to 5, like everyone of course says they want to live their dream, whatever, outside 9 to 5, but like what does that really mean? And like what makes your heart on fire? Like it took me forever. Like I'm gonna be a driver at UPS soon, but that's not my dream. Like that's cool to get money, but like doing the music and actually pushing a positive cause, that gives me a fulfillment. And it's not about being on stage and have everyone, oh yes, look who it is. It's more like they're here laughing, having a good time, getting a good message, and it's going to change them and be a ripple in that water forever. And I, when you don't have that, it can just feel so empty, And
yeah,
we're going through, I mean, already all that emotional type of trauma, like, and then not being able to find something to plug that in, or even anyone to talk to. I mean, in all reality, that's why I'm thankful you said you talk. There's not many people who you can hit at that level of understanding, and more people like that help you even understand your own purpose more. And like
yeah.
I definitely feel that. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel that too. Like I connect to that on such a deep level. And when you were talking about you had an experience when you were 23, that's actually the exact reason why I decided to go to rehab, was because I, had a trip for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not how I'm supposed to be living. What is happening right now? And another, like, one of those encounters whenever I was actually homeless in Santa Fe after I relapsed. And I was walking down the street and this lady stopped me and she was like, "You little nymph, there you are. Like, I've been looking for you," and all this. She was like, "You are not doing what you came here to do," and like telling me all this like crazy, to me, crazy shit. I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" She was like, "You need to come back with us to the house." So I went, and like, I didn't know these people, but I went and they were like sitting around me in a circle and like trying to help me like remember whatever the fuck it was that I was supposed to remember. And it was one of those moments where I was like pulled out of my body. And she was like whispering something in my ear, and I think it was light language. I still don't know because I haven't talked to her. But what it was translating as remember, remember, remember. And like I was out in space, and there was no body, there was no separation, there was nothing like that. And I think that the one time I did shrooms was like enough to last my whole life. It was like, oh, I have the capacity to go there.
Yeah.
And it's like so easy to go there, and it's actually harder to stay here. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
You can live in that, and that's when everyone's like, "Are you crazy?" And I'm like, "No, you're the crazy one."
Yeah, for real. Like, there's so much more to experience. Like, there's so much. After I got out of rehab, I was meditating for like 8 hours a day. My friends would come over to pick me up and like to go hang out, and they would like sit in my living room waiting for me. Casey specifically, she mentioned on Instagram not that long ago, like, I remember sitting and waiting for you to be done meditating so we could go to a meeting or like go do this or whatever. It's just so easy to stay there, like, but that kind of like goes back to addiction too, like just having that addictive quality. Like, I can be addicted to the present moment, become a prisoner of the present. I can become addicted to like meditation as an escape vehicle or whatever it is. But over the past 4, almost 5 years, like really honing, no, I guess just 4, not almost 5, but 4 years, like really honing the skill of like finding that fulfillment and like only doing what I know that I'm here to do, only speaking from a place of authenticity, only being as whole and complete as possible, showing up as not some version of myself, but like whatever is being expressed in the moment, and that's kind of, and I was a coach also for a couple of years, like a transformational coach, but also doing like business and helping people build businesses from their passion and their purpose, and monetizing their madness essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that just like really became a hard, like the main part of my life. But I got into Christianity again during that time. So
Oh, a double
yeah,
dip. She wanted a double dip.
yeah. So like everybody looked so happy, man. Like, I was miserable. I was so miserable. And everyone like looked so happy around me. I like got into MLM, and um they were all Christians and like, "Oh, thank God for this and that." And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, what? So I like really put my whole self into that for like a year, like hard. And I was only like 27. I'm 32 now,
Oh,
27 or 28. So it wasn't even that long ago.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was like I went hard. Like, I did all the things and was not getting the answers to the questions, but I kept asking Jesus, like, reveal more. And then, like, through that, I don't care what anybody says, Jesus brought me to the left-hand path. I swear to fucking God, whatever. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
you brought me here.
I mean, that's the thing. I literally got pulled more to it because I got on fire for Catholicism and there was an exorcisms. And so like diving into that, I'm like, okay, well, I can pray to saints. Okay, cool. All right. Exorcisms are real. All right. That means there's other spirits there. Now I need to look into them. And then I just kept looking. And then it was testing. And then it was finding out, instead of being, going to confession once a week, from every single thing, whether it's a thought or which is too much self-hate. You just look at like the Old Testament God and then the New Testament, and it just doesn't line up. It's too much of a warrior. It's too wrathful and not a positive love, versus seeing source, which is in everybody, and there is no judgment because it can't judge, and it's just love. And do you want to go fly, evaporate into this, or do you want to be your own being? And that just made so much more sense. So yeah, Jesus definitely had my hand pulling me right to get called as well.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Um, yeah, that's super. I mean, there was one of the things I wanted to ask. You were little in one of your videos, and you said you saw a portal, as well as
oh my God, yes.
Yeah, like I want to hear about the portal, and then I got a question on top of the question.
Well, that's like kind of all I remember was that I talked about in that video, but obviously not everybody's seen that video, so I don't remember what we were talking about, but I have these recalls. Like there's two times where like in my laundry room in the house I grew up in, for some reason, like a portal, like a glass, like a plasma, like at the time I didn't know what plasma was, but it was just kind of like a mirror, but it wasn't solid, but it was silver, and just like walked right through it. It was like a little bunny rabbit that like kind of like take me through it.
Yeah.
Never saw Alice in Wonderland either, and I'm only just now like hearing that right now, like, oh, like Alice in Wonderland, but like I never really known what that was, right? But it was like this world, it was like a world that was kind of like this one, but it felt more maybe like Avatar meets a cartoon, like
Yeah.
it was very strange, very bright, very pure. And the other day I was actually thinking about it. I was like, what if that was actually aliens taking me to their craft, but wanting to like mask it, but they want to like check on maybe like my blood or like,
Yeah, make sure all is going well real quick. Beep, 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 beep. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I don't even know what like made me think of that, but I was like, what if they were just like masking the shit? Because I have clear memories of like fucking gray aliens looking at me through my window and shit, like watching me whenever I was a kid too. I have weird ass memories from childhood. But I also grew up on coast to coast, so how much of that was imagination? You know what I mean?
Yeah, coast to coast. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then the other time was like going through the dryer, and it was the same world, going to that same world. And I think that's probably what made me think of like, was this just like the beings or entities that created me, like checking on me or something like that? But I brought something back with me from a dream one time. That was like crazy, and I don't even remember what it was, but these are memories that like resurface after having to like push them down. And I remember like my mom asking like, where did you get that? Because I like woke up with it in my hand.
That's so wild. That's so crazy.
What the fuck is this? Well, I've been also getting like these crazy downloads about like elementals and like being a blueprint holder of like reality, like the blueprint of physical reality, and not just being like an earth, air, water, fire type of elemental, but like a core, like a primal elemental blueprint, and incarnating as the blueprint to hold the blueprint, but to be able to hold this in place while this is changing so fucking rapidly.
Yeah.
And like it's just like more and more is just like clicking in all the time. And the past like month or two, I've just been like shutting down because there's so much coming in right now that it's just like, let's just take a second and like, what the fuck is actually happening? Like, I feel like I'm going crazy because I've never like given myself permission to talk about this. But with TikTok, like that's just, I mean, I got on TikTok and, been working 4 years to grow my business. My business page on Facebook has like 1,600 followers. And in 2 months, I have like 55,000 followers on TikTok. Like, like, you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like a place where you can be who you are, and like people are like, fuck yeah, I am okay, let's do this. But
definitely.
yeah, so it's like a whole integration period. Anyways, whew.
Well, no, that's awesome. You're literally, it's like the code. Like I'm not even lying. Like the past couple months, it's been getting to a point of understanding myself, like really knowing myself and knowing what my purpose is, because I felt it, and now like I truly believe it. There's like I feel the truth pulsating behind it, which helps push me forward. I don't have. I used to have a huge issue when it came to working with spirits because Christian roots. It's sometimes you
Yeah,
got to pull out the stuff and just like get rid of the program and get rid of the programming. But like at the end of the day, I don't care what this is or that is. I just want people to know it exists and it is real, and like it's helped me out tremendously, and people to just understand that's going on. And there are certain, like there's some Freemasons and stuff. Like I know some of their secret stuff is, they're working with goetic beings. Well, it's like, I'm just gonna let people know what's going on, so you guys quit your little cliche click and everything. And I'm just gonna unleash the truth all over the place, and like by doing that, it gives me this like this fulfillment. Like not only
yeah,
just this life, it's now resonating, and people can call me
yep,
crazy. All my lives have
yeah,
compiled, and now it feels like the actualization of the reality that I've like my spirit was now supposed to be. All the downloads are coming, and the past few months have been just crazy, just
yeah.
absolutely
And it's almost like
crazy.
you're the 0 point, and all of those timelines are coming to you. And
Yeah.
it's like the more you show up and you speak the truth of it, and you just like speak it authentically, and no holding back, it's like the more of it comes to you. And then also like you turn on like a beacon, where people who need your message just
Hmm.
show up. They're like moths to a flame, or whatever it's called, like
Yeah.
whatever the cliche is.
Well, that's also something else. It's like there's been people who have lined up in my life and taught me some spectacular things. Like my dad, like, he taught me so much when he was here on this plane. He just so much that like I'm able to take within my life. And one of my sister, I call her my sister. She was here. She's not here with us anymore. On this plane either. But like the things when I got to be with her, the downloads and higher understandings. It's like there's these people and things. And so if it does it for me and happens to me, then that means I can be that person for everyone else, which makes you really have to like be grounded in who do I want to be and all that. But you also can't, because I like to always like, do the whole love, like positive love, and, let that radiate out. But I've sometimes had some maggots, just some bad maggots come. So I also have to have my, like, I love all black anyways, but like have this look where it's like, I'll be a great beacon, but do not try anything. Please, like for the love of God, just don't do it for your sake. Just don't do it. Like, not even I'm gonna go out and do anything, but I know there's being like spirits that watch over me and keep me safe and all that.
Yep.
So it's just like I'm just trying to be good. So let me do my plan. Let me fulfill my plan on earth.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. That's crazy.
It really is, like, it's about being in integrity with your own values and your own standards for like the people that you allow into your life and into your space.
Yeah.
And it's like the more you kind of like stand in that truth, the less those people who need to learn lessons show up. But like if I was to give myself a label aside besides like an occultist or whatever, it's a shadow worker. Like when I'm around people, they like just open up like this whole different side to themselves that they never seen. Like in my Discord, all kinds of people right now came in as Christian witches and are now like comfortable with demons. And it's been since the beginning of March. You know what I
Oh
mean? And
wow. Oh wow.
people alchemize their shit like that around me, and it's because of just being able to be like you said, like this nice person, but don't fuck with me, like you're
Yeah.
going to get lit up
Yeah.
if that's the case. But like you don't have to do anything because you just like stay in your own integrity,
Hmm.
and everything, it just flows for you, like it just gets to happen.
Hmm.
And yeah, like that's awesome. It's the only way to be. It's the only way to experience life, in my opinion, unless you're still learning or whatever. But like,
Yeah, there's a certain time when it's like you might as well, like, honestly, like this virus has woke me up for many reasons. Not only like the people who I'm really really appreciate and love, what I really need to get through, and then like what do I really want to put my time to? Because I mean, I'm thankful I have a job. Don't get me wrong, but another part's like, if it was a horrible virus, like death, like you get it, you're dead. I'm like, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Like then what do you have backed up? Like there's just all these other thoughts, and like then what do you really want to go for? I don't know why I even thought about the virus. And how dare that virus just pop up in my mind? There was a point I was going with that. But I guess it's for me, it was just a great wake up and figuring out more and more of like how can you be authentic. And I mean, it's actually you have inspired me to want to be on like lives, on 2 lives, like get myself on you. First off, you taught me how to get on YouTube live. I don't know if you know that. Thank you, hero, right here. We got a hero. And just like when I do get live, go live on different things and like really interact with people and take it to that level, like because you've had all these lessons and everything else, and you're shedding that light to other people, and that's something that's really awesome. That some kind of just keep their knowledge to themselves, and that's all right because everyone has different levels to what they want to do. And
oh, I can't fucking do that. If I do that, I die. Like,
yeah.
period. If I turn it down or tone it down, like, I fucking die. Like, I go back on heroin and I die. Like, the end. Like,
Oh.
these are my 2 options. It's do what I'm doing now, or like live a miserable life and get caught in the cycle of karma and fucking have to do it again sometime. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I really believe that I'm here for life, one life only. And if that woman hadn't have stopped me in the streets in Santa Fe, I would be stuck in the karma cycle. Like,
Did you ever? I'm sorry I interrupted you. Did you ever see her again, or was that like a one time out of
yeah,
nowhere?
we met like one time, and then we met up one other time, because like I said, I was homeless. There were like times where I was like really needy and stuff. We met and we talked in the car, and in her car, and I think she bought me food or something like that. And she was just talking to me about like how all these artists, she was playing music for me that I didn't like at all. But like she was telling me like how their words are like so divinely inspired and stuff. And she actually told me about Dolores Cannon and like the 3 waves of volunteers and stuff, telling me that like I'm a second wave, and like I've only incarnated one time. And ever since then I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm kind of like the fool in the tarot. And that's, if I was going to use one card to describe myself, it would be the fool, in that part of my life for sure. But yeah, I don't remember what I was talking about, but yeah, we talked that one time, and that's the only time that we saw each other from then.
Because it's sometimes there's people that enter, like even if it's just like for a day, and it feels like
Yep.
they aren't actually a person. Like it for some reason this being manifested. I got lost when I was not 1 years old. How were you out of school at 1? I went on the wrong bus and I ended up having to find my way walking home. And this person who I had no idea who's jogging walked me all the way to my house, like almost to the house. And right when I was gonna say goodbye, they disappeared. So I was like, all right. Well, that was first grade. So at that point, there's already beings. You got aliens, you got spirits manifesting and going away. I mean, and that's also something else. It's like,
That's fucking crazy. They were just there and then they weren't there.
yeah, like it was, oh, wow, that's my house. Oh, that's my mom. Well, thank you. Gone. Like,
What?
who bolts? Like, who would walk a first
Okay,
grader home and then bolts?
you're definitely okay. So like from the time that I first like read your comment about like doing a show together or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yes, let me go see this content or whatever, like I said in the comment. But like I knew in that moment that like we were definitely supposed to connect. But then whenever I went to your channel, before I ever even clicked on a video, I was like, yes sir.
Yes.
Like this was like definitely. But I there's people that I meet that like the energy feels like that same type of like elemental energy, that like blueprint holder type of energy that I talked about.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not the only fucking one, you know, but there are specific people, and like I don't know, I can feel it, and I feel that you have that type of energy too. And I think us, I mean, there are people from all like pantheons and walks of life that do have like protectors and stuff that will do certain things like that in their life, but we're obviously not of that type of pantheon, or it's just like an angel is guiding you down the street, you know. Even at the time where we were like into, you know, like Christianity or Catholicism or whatever it is, the right hand path kind of stuff, like even then, like Belial's guiding me, you know what I mean? Like, or, you know, whoever it is for you, like that demon or the ancient gods, like that you're kind of from, essentially, have always been there guiding you, even if you're giving the credit to an angel or a different god or whatever. Like, that's what I noticed. But yeah, you definitely have that type of energy signature that feels so familiar. So
that's awesome. Thank you for telling me that. That's really cool.
They just like to put us back. Like,
oh, I know.
Like, well, you just move over here.
Well, that's the thing. Now is the time for us to, you know, just building the collective of everyone on helping out everyone you can. And that's kind of why, like, during this time, that's what I was going to say before the virus, reaching out to people for podcasts. Kind of like right now, I feel like I'm Spider-Man. I turn it up. I'm Spider-Man right now. But like trying to like literally reach out to everyone until I can talk to everyone and hear everyone's experience and exchange my experience with them, and seeing how much collective, as well as, and then once they look at my thing, they might see someone else that they want to talk to, and everyone just kind of really expand out. And I know EA is doing a great job with Become a Living God, and like I'm not trying to make a company per se. In fact, I want to support Becoming Living God as much as I can, because, you know, his videos, what he's done has helped me out so much. And I just want to be a part of the big change. And I know I'm going to do it through my music, but I also want to do it through my interactions with like you awesome people, you know, you just, and I don't, you know, I was even going to ask, like, do you think that like a fairy or a mermaid could incarnate in a human vessel, or that they're their own thing on just like another plane that overlaps ours? Or I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I don't know, I kind of think mermaids are real. Facts.
Like, for sure. The answer is for sure. I mean, but like it's all kind of overlaid on top of this reality, isn't it? You know, like it's all here. It's just like, how tuned into that frequency are you? You know, like kids see shit all the time that their parents don't see. You know, you can be out on a rowboat in the middle of the sea for whatever reason, and see a mermaid, but like the person on the boat with you doesn't see that shit, and then we call it like schizophrenia or whatever. But like schizophrenics are like the shamans, but they were just born into the wrong society that wants to medicate away their genius. And you know, like for sure, mermaids and fairies, like from those realms, could have volunteered at this time to incarnate, to hold space, like, or to bring that element in, like the mermaids who incarnate to bring, like, to awaken the water element in people, right? Like in all the people that they come in contact with in their lives or whatever, to like awaken that water element, to hold space for like the healing of like the oceans, or, you know, whatever it is. And then fairies, they can be any element. But they absolutely could have chose to incarnate at this time for, you know, like we see another rising up like in the 60s with the hippies and stuff, but it's so much more environmentally focused now. So 100%, like there are beings from every realm incarnating as humans. We are the center of the fucking universe right now. Everybody's watching the planet Earth right now, saying like, what's gonna happen next? They're like sitting in their spaceships with their fucking popcorn. Yes. And they're just like, wow, this is crazy. And you know, like the ones of us who decided, you know what, we're gonna go in and we're gonna help this experiment. We're gonna help these humans. But they can't interfere from the outside. You know, they can't interfere with our free will. they have to go through the fucking ride and the ringer and decide, you know what, I'm gonna incarnate even though I'm not gonna remember, but let me make this soul contract really quick with this person before, like, maybe they're best friend in the fairy realm or whatever. Like, okay, if I find you first, you're gonna remind me. Or if you find me first, like, we're gonna remind each other and stuff. And like, that's how I feel about that lady. Like, we definitely had a soul contract, and she was definitely supposed to be there if I got off track. And like, I just got tingles all over my head.
I just almost got a little ring over here too. Wow.
Yeah, that's how I see it though. Like, for sure. I mean, it's I don't know so much about, like, people, maybe you've heard of like the event or whatever that people talk about all the time that Dolores Cannon talks about. I don't know if I believe so much in like the event where like the earth's supposed to split into two and one's like high vibrational and one's low density or whatever. I don't believe that's the case. I think that what we're doing right now is we're holding the space for humans to either decide to live and survive and thrive or kill themselves. Yeah. And like, either way, I'm not concerned with it. Like, and that's very elemental attribute actually, for to come off like cold and not like, so like,
yeah,
kill yourself if you want, like, whatever. But like, I care deeply, but there's also this sense of like, okay,
yeah,
so it's really strange, but it's just that we just have to commit ourselves to this state of being that's like, as long as I'm doing my job here, like, the fate of the world is not in my hands and my hands alone.
Yeah.
Unless I'm not doing my part.
And that's actually that's very helpful into my own self, because instead of holding like a burden, like even just holding anything, it's like, I'm just going to push and give it all I got. And that's all I can do. Like, yeah. I've made my statement to the earth. I've made my statement to the spirits. I've made my statement to myself. There's no war going on. I can say, Raphael, homie, can you please help me not have this headache? I could say, hey, Duke Salos, can you help me, better up my auric field? Like, at the end of the day, that's something else. It's like, I don't care who ends up walking away. Like, I have a mission. And so if me saying, yeah, I work with goetic beings makes someone walk away, well, then walk away. Like, it doesn't change how I am. Like, I was on the walk and looking up at the stars, I really did feel, I mean, I don't know, I was just felt so euphoric, honestly. But like, I thought about people and like how I wanted to just be so much more, even more positive, and like a great light being, like really giving them hope and inspiration. And sometimes I get so disappointed with myself because I don't fulfill that. I might be in a bad mood because I didn't eat food. Yeah, ain't that a physical feeling? Yeah, yikes! I didn't eat for 3 hours.
Dude, that shit sucks. Whatever, that shit sucks.
Yeah, like, I know.
You start feeling it, no.
Or when you're supposed to be up for another 10 hours and you're just super tired and you don't have caffeine. Gotta love the caffeine.
I know. I'm a baby right here.
Yeah, I got mine right here. A little blue sauce. Oh man, the red room with the blue drink. Holy smokes!
Nice.
Here, I'll shoot another one. Actually, what Go experience have you worked with? Have you dived in that field and all that?
I'm not really too interested in the Goetia. I mean, I know Belial is like one of the Goetic spirits and stuff, but more interested with Belial as a primal craft as a part of like the Trident and stuff. I have never gotten into the actual like Mark Allen Smith books of primal craft and stuff like that, but Hecate, Belial, and then finally, and I mean finally, Lucifer showed up, and like that's kind of how it was like spirits and beings and stuff just kind of like pop up. It's not too much ever like I was talking about with like how information pops up for me when I need it. It's there, like it comes to me. So after I became a Christian and decided to stop being a Christian, well, I actually was a Christian witch for quite some time because I was still struggling with hell. Like I had re-indoctrinated myself so deeply that I had this fear of hell again. It's like reading cards and stuff. And trying to convince myself that it was speaking with the Elohim, and they were like guiding my spirit beings or whatever. Like, I mean, a total delusion. And I finally decided, you know what? I do not want to be afraid of hell anymore. Like, I don't believe it exists. So why is it controlling me? You know, like, why am I giving my power to this? And so I start listening to like atheist experience podcasts and stuff like that. And after a certain amount of time is whenever like, in my practice, I was like an atheist witch kind of thing, like a chaos magic was like from the get was like my thing, and just playing with like, and it's kind of always been that way. If you look at like all of the different religions and philosophies that I've kind of like experimented with in my life, I was a chaos magician before I knew what chaos magic was. It was just like I was constantly hopping paradigms, just like doing what I needed and what worked for me in that moment, or like that 3-month period, or that 1 year or 5-year period. There was never a 5-year period. But so I was like doing like my atheist thing where I'm like, oh, I don't believe in deities, but I believe in manipulating energy and I can do it, and it was awesome. But I finally was like, I wonder what it would be like if I worked with, you know, a goddess. Nyx came to me in a dream. While I still didn't believe in deities, I thought that they were just like an aspect of ourselves or whatever. And they very well could be, because there is really truly no separation. I mean, I've experienced that firsthand, that it's like the separation is the illusion. And like I did a ritual with Hecate. And it was so crazy because like when I'm getting pulled out of my body, or when I'm going to like astral realms, or if I'm just like where I need to be to connect into other worlds or whatever, I experience like the drunk spins. It's hard to explain. It's like kind of like woo, 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 like in my body is like pulses like that.
Yeah, that's the pulsation. That's exactly. I know what you're talking about with that.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the first time that happened, it scared the shit out of me. I was like, "What is this?" I feel like it got pulled out of my body. I was not expecting that, but totally different time. But this time, I was dropping down, so I'm like dropping down to like I set up this offering for Hecate, like this whole big plate of like fruits and nuts and like tobacco and even kratom, like because I know that she likes to devour the miasma, or like the things that are toxic about you. So like at that time I was like not wanting to use kratom, but I still like wanted to, so like let me give this to her. And also cigarettes. So like there was this whole, it was this whole thing, and that was what I was offering to her. So like drop in, and like it probably wasn't even 3 minutes, and I'm like standing face to face with Hecate. And it wasn't like her black dogs that people associate Hecate with. It was like, I don't know what they were. They were maybe like dragon, but they weren't. They were like a mix between a dragon and a dog. Like they were beasts.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much about Hecate at all, so I didn't even know she had animals.
Oh, wow.
Like I was just following like the instructions on a ritual. Like I had this experience, and so it was like, you know, just it was really kind of telepathic what I was presenting to her. Like she knew, right? And she felt my fear, and she told me the only thing to fear. What did she tell me? There's nothing to fear except for yourself. Like only be afraid of yourself. She told me to take my offer. She said, take your offerings to the crossroads, and it's there that you will meet yourself. And so I was like, still in there. She opens up. She like starts to shapeshift and turns into one of these beasts herself, and just like it devours me. And like I just stay there in the meditation while she just like fucking eats me whole.
Oh my God.
And then I slowly stop feeling that drunk spin type, pulsing. I stop feeling kind of dizzy or whatever, and I come back fully in my body, and I'm like, okay. So I take this plate, and I've always been afraid of the crossroads. I knew that that's what she meant for me to take to the physical crossroads. So I took the plate to the physical crossroads. I left the plate there, and I wasn't scared all of a sudden, because like she reminded me that that's like, it's all me. She was just like reminding me. But then I was like really wanting to start working with demons and stuff. And so I think, but I was scared still. Like, because I don't know. I don't think I was maybe scared. I think I was scared of the commitment, because I have an issue sort of sticking with anything too long. It's not even an issue. I think it's a blessing for me, is because I get to experience so many things. But I was worried, like, what if I accidentally like create this bond that never goes away? Little did I know that bond was already there, and I was just rediscovering it. So like, suddenly I'm like starting to hear Belial's name a lot. And this is kind of crazy, actually. Before my youngest daughter was born, she's 5. I had a sleep paralysis dream where I thought, and I would use the verbiage, that I was being raped, but I liked it. That was like the verbiage, but that was sleep paralysis. Like, so yeah, I described it like that up to that point where I realized Belial was trying to make himself known to me. And I had sleep paralysis like this for a little while, like at least the 5 years, and when I realized that it was Belial that was trying to get in contact with me, one day I was like trying to rearrange my house, and I was like, I think Belial was like good for motivation. Let me just like see if he's already here, if he wants to help me or whatever. And I was just like, Belial, dude, if you're real, can you help me like get the motivation to want to make my house look the way that I want it to look or whatever. I cleaned for 3 days straight. 3 fucking days. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But then it turns out, not only did that just like happen, but like he made it very clear that he has always been around, and that is definitely him who likes to have sexy time. And I know lots of people see Belial as like kind of a father figure to them or something, I guess. But I see him as like a very sexual being, and like I've had like visions while actually doing the deed, that like a demon is fucking me, like an actual like the scary looking kind, not like a sexy demon.
Yeah,
like
not the suit and tie. You're talking horn mother.
Yes. Okay. And so like I'm like, oh, they're still like laughing about it. But anyway, so I'm like figured out that he's like kind of always been there. So I had a dream about Beelzebub, like probably maybe like a week or two after, just like having regular conversation like you would with a spirit guide. But like that's kind of like the relationship that I have with Belial. Actually, Hecate and Belial together came to me as I was laying down to go to sleep. I wasn't even like already half asleep or anything. Both of them show up in my room, and Belial's voice is so muttered, and I can't understand what he's saying at all. And Hecate said, you'll only understand him if you learn to speak his language. And at that time, I was starting to find out about Enoch Petrocelli's work. And then I realized that she was telling me to learn that language that Lucifer gave to him. And
wow.
Like, yeah, so it was like a really interesting thing. So it was like, maybe it was that night that I had a dream that Beelzebub was like coming into my space too. But when I woke up from that dream, I was like, Beelzebub and Belial are the fucking same. And it was weird because like I knew nothing about demons, like at all. So I went to Google and I was like, are Beelzebub and Belial related or whatever? And I come across like one of VK Jahannam's videos about them being the same.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, back it up. First, before that, it was asking Google if Hecate and Belial have any relation, and then I found Primal Craft, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I asked about Beelzebub and Belial being the same, and then that's whenever I found VK Jahannam's video where he was talking about how in Mark Allen Smith's book, Primal Craft, he talks about Beelzebub and Belial being the same. And Hecate and Belial and Lucifer make up the trident of the Primal Craft. And I'm like, what do you fucking know? Like, like, this is really cool because like I tend to get like these downloads and like gnosis without even trying. And I feel so fortunate. Like I can't even express like how lucky I feel to have such a deep connection to where they just like want to be around, you know what I mean? And that I don't have to like constantly work on like ritual magic and shit like that. But I think it's a lot has to do with how much inner work and growth I've done on myself and faced my shadows in my real world without magic, you know, like how to the depths I've been in my darkness and they just show up. So yeah, I have another story with Lucifer, but let's talk first because I've been talking way too long.
No, I'm honestly loving it. That is so awesome. I mean, that's like when you say with Hecate with Belial and Lucifer. I mean, my first one I was getting contact with was Lucifer, and then it was Astarte, and then from Astarte that pulled me to Belial. And like when I'd go on runs, I knew I had to get a hold of him because I would see a face with horns that was on fire and laughing, and I would be literally laughing, running around like go on my runs, just laughing out loud, looking crazy because I'm like, I know I got to, I just got to know what for, and it was, you know, kick myself in the ass basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard, it was intense, and you know, that's. Now the kind of anytime I hit him up, character, anytime, you know, it's like, all right, let's get down to business. And I understand, I've been taught how to command as well as just taking ownership and not giving a shit. Like literally saying, if I want to, I'm going to call Raphael and you right now. And not to say I'd want to, you know, mix and match all the energies or whatever, but like literally to say almost like I appreciate you. But like if I had to say fuck you, be your own man and say it. Say fuck you to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like just intense, like be intense, express yourself, like intensity. And like I'm like, dude, I fuck with it. I just fuck with it. Like like
so hard.
And broken. I know. I feel like I'm just empowered, and some, you know, that's like one of the first steps, honestly, you know. And then that light, I mean, Lucifer to me, when I was going through some depression, I mean, all my depression ever stems from my desire for wanting someone else to feel a certain way about me, which is stupid. Literally, who cares? Like, honestly, like be yourself. And the universe is so divine, so connected. And that's something I'm trying to imprint within myself so hard, is like everything is so divinely connected, and together is a bigger picture. And I have these guides, these friends, all these outside influences, like really there, and it's like they are with you beforehand. I mean, when I was a little kid, I'd always get the Spawn action figures and like the dark stuff. That was my favorite. And it's like this stuff, people be like, that's pretty dark and scary looking as a kid. And I remember always telling my parents, like, can I pray for the fallen angels? Can I pray for them? Like, and it's just because, like, you know, I just like I love, because when someone's not given love, and then to hear there's different, you know, there's from the Sumerians and everything else, there's two interpretations. And that's also kind of why it's like, I'm just going with truth. I'm not telling anyone to do this, don't do this. I just want you guys to know it's real. And like by that, every being's on my side. I really don't feel like I'm at war with anything other than myself for
Yeah.
accepting what it is, what truth is.
I think you're a natural disruptor, like for sure. It comes from a place of love, of wanting other people to know the truth. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't care how bad I have to fuck up your paradigm, you're gonna learn today. Like,
Yeah,
that's how it
exactly.
is. But it's not like that's not the thought process. It's just like it has to be, like it has to happen this way. Where where you lovingly like lay it down.
Yeah, otherwise I feel bored. I feel
Yeah.
so bored. Like going
That
out.
is what I was talking about earlier. It's like, do this or you die. So like it might not be your physical death, but you die as a person.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But yeah, I could go make the financial money. Now, even though I think the whole world's going to a whole different place now in these next few years. But it's like, what? I could have lived a life to go make money, but that's it. Then I'll go to church and then hope I'm fulfilled. Like, no, I've tried all
yeah,
that stuff. I actually feel it more now than ever and tapped in. So it's like, what can I do with this experience I've been blessed with being here and take it to that next level? And if I go up to someone saying I'm an alien spirit, not from this planet, who cares? Who cares? Like, people are
yeah,
gonna come, not come, but like, really, it's that love and putting that in your aura and letting people feel that. And for a while, I did some paranormal investigating, and I did like some exorcisms and hit up people like that. Actually, they really got a hold of me, like out of nowhere, from this person, and it wasn't about changing their paradigm. Like that was, I got a demonology degree, and I mean that's a long story, whatever, but I end up just being able to use that to not only help myself, but then all these random people to be able to help with. And it's like at the end of the day, like I just want people's spirits to be good. I don't want these nags, these negative energy spirits to be on you. And if it has it for an angel to be at your side to keep you safe or a demon at your side to make you safe, I want your heart and spirit to feel good here. And
yeah,
like, I don't see anything wrong with that. And I really had an issue with that. And it's just a part of when you ready for those downloads, when's your next evolution. And now they're coming pretty rapidly, and I'm like, dang man, I
for
feel like
sure.
I'm getting that last pull up I was supposed to, but I know they're gonna say next one, and I'm like, what do I have to do? What other weight do I need to drop to be able to pull all the way up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I totally relate to that. And I think how you say it doesn't matter if it's like an angel that's guiding you or a demon or whoever it is, whatever it is, like it
Mm-hmm.
could be, you know, you could be in any religion or school of thought. And it comes kind of back to like how many different species of a universal consciousnesses are incarnating on the planet right now. And I think that there are those of us who are here to not bring war to the forefront, but to bring anarchy. I mean, honestly, it's
Yeah.
like, how deep can we love each other? And you know what? Like before that ever even happens, there will be war because those people will kill themselves. They'll kill themselves fighting each other.
Yeah.
And like it's sad, but it's also true. And whatever it takes, like there's definitely something larger at play, and
Oh, I
we can
know.
only just be like who we are. There's nothing else we can be. Like I personally will stand in um I guess my belief that humanity is supposed to operate in tribes of 150 people or less. Like that's the social structure that is integrated into us already.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else that we experience now in the past few centuries is not that,
Yeah.
you know?
It's
And it's
evolved
just,
so quick.
yeah, and not even the past few centuries, I guess, since the Industrial Revolution,
Mm.
where everything has become very commercialized and especially in the past, it's already 2020. I was gonna say the last 20 years, but
I
where did the
know.
first fucking 20 go? Okay, but
I
like
know. Tell me about it.
the last 50 years or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like I am a solid, like I have anarchy tattooed on my red, the anarchy sign. Like
That's
I did that.
Oh wow,
It's
that's
my favorite
awesome.
tattoo, and I did it. But like I am that committed to the ideology and philosophy of anarchy and like the um like the systems of hierarchy that are naturally in place in a tribal environment where you have people who are naturally shamans, who are naturally like the nurturers or the ones that like go and grow food and pick food or whatever, and then you got the hunters and the artists and the ones that bring pleasure and joy into the community or whatever, but like everybody has a fucking spot.
Yeah.
And right now we're just like lining up
Yeah.
and
You just
voluntary slaves. Like people go to fucking work every single day, not even realizing that they're volunteering to be a slave. Like go to work all fucking day to pay for a place that you never get to be at, like never get to enjoy any free time for what? Like for fucking
yeah.
what?
Exactly. It's the life draining like for what? Yeah, exactly. It's in front of if you look at yourself in a spiritual perspective of looking at yourself third person, looking at a television. So do you work all those hours so you can sit there to look at that? And then,
Right.
they don't have time to be with their family. And my dad passed away and he only got it was one month. He worked all the way till like 1 month before he passed away. And it's like just to work, work,
Damn.
work, work, work. And that's just, I mean, there's obviously for myself, I have gratitude because I have what I have. There's a lot, so much bestowed besides wisdom, but it's still like, man, just so much life. And so, yeah, I'm doing these things to become a driver and I'll be doing it really soon. But,
Dude, I am
I,
so grateful for UPS drivers. Like, bitch, bring me my Amazon. Thank you. Like,
that. I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, I can just listen to beats, listen to podcasts, and just be having a good time. And like the people, like when I go do the help, running band packages and like looking at someone and smiling and like having like so genuine saying, I hope you have a great day and a smile. It
yeah.
literally lightens people up. And I love it. And we were dropping off this food to this one family of like this Korean family. And this little kid opens up the door and it was like actual food and like how happy they were. And then they all waved and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is why I love humanity because it's a fantastic. And then, you see a few minutes later, something terrible, like, oh, on the news, this guy did this. And there's some crazy people.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not. I mean, I'm not 100% there because I'm not inside of the box that everyone that's not anarchist is in. But I agree. I think having fulfillment would be in a society where it's like there isn't really any I guess it becomes a natural hierarchy versus a
Yes.
unnatural. And it's just like sigils for corporations, like they're just big sigils and you can tell that to someone and understand like when you look at that powers it and like the meaning behind it. I mean, I made my symbol my own sigil and like it's awesome. It's got so many things to it, but it's just the reality of what it is. And I don't know. I don't know why some people won't even look into that. They just think it's so.
Well, their frequency is not adjusted to even receive that information. Like they couldn't if they wanted to. I mean, it's just like the same reason we use like why we have to reprogram ourselves when we're trying to, better our lives or whatever, while people listen to affirmation tracks while they're falling asleep is because like there's already a program running, and unless you change that program, then you're going to keep getting the same thing over and over. It's just like it's exactly like when we banish, we also want to bring in like other energy while we're banishing because our reality is programmed already to do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
And unless we're bringing something in to replace what we're trying to push away, then it's just going to fall back to like what it's programmed to do. But like as far as like people even being open to it, they can't. Like they physically can't. And I like to use the metaphor of remodeling your house and like remodeling your bathroom. You don't just go into your bathroom and build a new bathroom on top of it. Like you have to tear out all the other shit in there, and then you can build something new. And unfortunately, that's painful and unknown, and it's dangerous to our ego and to our persona. it's very dangerous, because we don't know. We have like still operating in our mind that, you know, if we are rejected in any way, going back to the tribal way of being, if we are rejected from our tribe of origin, back then, you would have starved, you would have been eaten by a predator, another tribe could have taken you, and made you like a slave for them or something like that. And so we do whatever we have to do to stay inside of this box of what like the standards of society tells us that we have to be, and we have to live in that or else die. Like, because our ego says like, if you get rejected, you're going to fucking die. And so like when I'm working with people one-on-one, I challenge them to do the things that scare them the most, because you have to see that you're not going to die. Like, you're going to feel like you're dying in the process of it, but you have to have those hard conversations. Like, you have to do those things that scare the shit out of you. Like, yeah, it's scary for me to spend, you know, like to just quit my job and pursue, you know, building a business. Like, that was scary as fuck. But like the more I did it and, you know, like starting to see that there are actual benefits to it, and I was getting rewards from it instead of just getting like knocked down, which is what you expect. Like, your ego expects you to just only get consequences instead of rewards too. But in all reality, there's going to be consequences and rewards to everything you do. We just don't hear about the rewards of things.
Yeah.
And it's just the current paradigm of the collective consciousness of humanity. And then we have the stragglers, you know, like us, that are the black sheeps of the family, that are just like here to disrupt and like shake people awake, in the most loving of ways.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the truth hurts, but you know, I mean, that's the thing. Really, what you said about diving in, doing the thing that's the scariest to you. I mean, that's why I called up Belial, without a doubt, because that was the one I was like, ugh, because the first goetic spirit I summoned up was Duke Salos, and it's because it says lovable, peaceful character that helps with like love and self-love, and I'm like, sounds like the perfect one, because I don't know about everything else, but this guy seems positive, and you know, to me he's an uncle, you know, an uncle character, you know, I can always call on him, but you know, it's just things like that. And it's, I guess, when you're ready, when the frequencies raise, which I think that is happening, especially these past couple of years, and you know, more of the truth with this virus making people go home and really have to analyze their life. It's just bringing up so much, and it's really actually intense, but it's also a great opportunity to self-analyze. Do I like what I'm doing? Let's do the next step. And for you to take that step with your own business, I mean, that is so awesome. I can't wait.
If people are not like following what they're passionate about right now, they're a fucking idiot. Like, period. Because you have nothing, literally nothing better to do with your time than to follow what you're here to do. And if you don't ever even just follow, like right now, I'm so into mushroom cultivation, like it's not even funny. Like, I want to grow every species of mushrooms on the planet, even though there's like over 2 million species of mushrooms. Like, I want all of them. But like, I fortunately have the luxury of being able to dive deeply into any subject I want, whenever I want, because my frequency allowed me to be in a relationship where my husband's gone all week long and he's only home on the weekends. And so I get to spend all my time by myself. And I love, like, I do not like being around people at all. And so that's perfect. And he, you know, takes care of like the financial stuff. So when I speak of like, you know, anarchy and all of this, like, yeah, I do kind of have it made, you know, like as far as being taken care of. But does that mean, you know, I'm a brat or I get my way? It's like, no, I fucking worked hard to allow myself to step into the frequency, and I took the risks and I took the chances. And, you know, I encouraged him to go to trucking school, and, you know, and I held our family while he went through it, you know, and like, you know, not even to mention the years before that where, you know, I was homeless, because I chose to experience drugs rather than fucking line up like a sheep to the slaughter, right?
Yeah.
Like, I make conscious decisions in my life to set myself up to be where I want to be in my life. And if anything was to ever happen with me and my husband, God forbid, like, or, you know, Lucifer forbid, I don't know what.
Source.
Like, if that was to ever happen, I would still not go get a job. Like, that's who I am. But like, my frequency has allowed my reality to shape around me the way that I want it to be.
Yeah.
And so like, I do have the luxury of being able to study whatever I want and go as deep as I want, you know, be it, you know, into studying demons and working with demons and rituals and, you know, any kind of witchcraft or the occult, or, you know, something like on the other end, like mushrooms, you know, like whatever it is. But like, if you are into something right now, or if you felt called or pulled to something in your life ever, and you've never gotten to experience it, right now is the time. And the only reason I say that you're an idiot if you don't follow it is to make you be like, yeah, I'm being an idiot right now. And like, yeah, that was not on accident. Like, do it. Like, there's nothing else. Like, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you go for it? Exactly. The fact that we're alive on the plane, and like, you know, actually your story, of a friend of mine who I've gotten to know her the past little while. She, you know, kind of what your story of like going through all that and then being kind of an awakened individual. It just really gives you kind of a whole new foundation of, you know, now you don't have to be like that sheep and go to all that. I mean, I'm still at a job and everything else. I mean, I know the ending is soon. I don't know how or what. I just have the intuition feeling inside my next steps for freedom are around the corner. And you know, just all those experiences in general, like, they build us, and like, that's what frequency we've ended up having to become. Now our reality can reflect onto that, and I love it. I really love it. I mean, I was just doing 11 hours a day at 2 different jobs, and I was sitting down all the time. I mean, at least now at this job I get to be out moving, and I love running and being at the
You seem
gym.
like you like doing what you're doing, and like, you're also helping in a huge way. Like, you know, I mean, there are some jobs like that just don't need people.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, with how advanced technology is, the government or corporations or whatever are doing humanity a fucking favor to keep those jobs, like,
And
run by humans.
that's the thing, once the robots come, and then we start thinking about, is it about money or a robot or the person? It's like, why wouldn't they pay $20,000 for a robot to do the
Exactly.
whole entire job for a year and year? And then you ask, like, so what type of level job really is worthwhile spending a human's time on? And I mean, that starts getting really deep, because then
Well,
people
yeah.
really have to look in the mirror, because they can't be like, yeah, I'll just work this. Like, the people who are like over 40 working a job and they hate it, I don't know. I understand things. Your life can get chaotic and crazy, and you can't control the winds of the current, but man, oh man, I
Next
see
thing you
what
know, you've been working the same job for fucking 20 years. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
I
But if
just
anything, this is like teaching, this is like showing us right now, and this is something I've been preaching for years, is saying like, there is no security. Like, the security of your comfortable job, making a comfortable salary, is an illusion and has always been an illusion. And now people are seeing this. Like, it's right there. Like, you can't avoid it. You can't like just say it's a conspiracy, or, you know, like,
yeah.
you can't say, oh, you're just fucking crazy. Like, no, like, this has been predicted, and don't fucking act like it wasn't already told to you, because I and many other people have been talking about how like the security of your job and your position at work is an illusion. People see their coworkers get laid off with a severance package that are 2 weeks away from retirement. You know what I mean? That happened to my uncle.
Wow.
Like, he was retiring from, he worked at Halliburton, and then he worked one of their sister companies. And 2 weeks before his retirement, they fucking let him go. Like,
Just
that's
so they didn't have to give him anything. to give him
No,
his?
they give him a good severance package, but it wasn't his retirement, was
Oh
it?
my God!
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
And they can do that. And it's like it seems like there's been enough warnings. There's been enough messengers, right? Messengers like speaking these truths and predictions into the world. So where like if people would stop and hear it and listen and not just be like, oh, so yeah, trusting, I guess trusting would be the word. Like, to just think, like how much freedoms you give away for a sense of security, and we're doing it right now too. But like there is no safety, there is no security, there never has been, and there never will be. We're about to experience a comet that's half the size of the sun, right? Like passing the Earth, even though it's supposed to be passing 3 million miles away from us. It's like 2.5 million fucking miles wide,
Yeah, I know. Holy smokes! And
right?
you
Like,
know, seeing an issue like that, also, you'd think that the concern on the Earth wouldn't be these bullshit battles between each other, and it would be more of, if something like that was to come, well, how could we build something that would help change that outcome, or that's why my music now is mostly focused on green energy and green all that stuff. It's like, guys, what are we doing? It's 2020. All right, the oil, we're done. Okay, they could have gotten something Nikola Tesla. Y'all want to say blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. Okay. They had their own little thoughts, everything else. And we're done. Like, we can't keep hurting the earth. Otherwise, like, oh, I wonder why the planet's getting a little upset. Well, probably because you guys are drilling into it, not caring, hurting the animals. And, like, the animals don't deserve that. Like, get something that you can throw something in the water. That's one of my big things is getting something that's replacing plastic, for Pete's sake. My goodness.
yeah.
Get that out of here.
Mushrooms can clean the ocean too?
Mushrooms
Like,
can clean the ocean?
yeah. Like, dude, mushrooms can save the fucking world.
Mushrooms
Like,
can save you. Honestly, I mean, they save me a lot,
the whole world. If we didn't have mycelium growing underground, nothing would be here. Or you need to watch Fantastic Fungi.
Okay,
Like,
I will.
Oh my, it will blow your mind and you will become obsessed with mycology. I swear to God. Like,
I'm
it's so
writing it
good.
down right now.
Dude, oh my God.
I'm gonna be having mushrooms too. I saw some on your post. He had mushrooms, and I was like, oh, she's probably seen some cool mushrooms. Some of those people collect those. I forget what they are, the big white ones that they can sell for a lot. I don't know, but I was like, oh, she might just be into that. No, you're into the millions. You're looking into all of them. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like. Well, my first like interest or curiosity into them was like, I wonder if I could grow psilocybin mushrooms. Turns out I fucking can. So there's that. But then I was like, oh man, those like reishi mushrooms and lion's mane mushrooms and turkey tail mushrooms and what are they called? Cordyceps. Like all of these mushrooms are super, super, super medicinally beneficial for us. Like people take mushrooms and like they drink like mushroom tea, like especially reishi mushrooms.
I put that in my shake every morning.
Dude, it is such a good mushroom. Like I want to make sure I grow all of those, and like say something ever did happen or whatever, like I will be bartering mushrooms.
Yeah, no, you'll actually be on top. It doesn't matter if you got coronavirus. Reishi mushroom, done.
Yeah, dude, and that's another thing I think. I think that the only people that can get coronavirus is if your immune system is already too weak. Like they talk about, like, I'm like I do qigong like every day.
That's awesome.
Simple, like very simple, like moving the energy out and like recycling it and stuff like that. And then building chi and things like that. Like I do that kind of thing. So I don't do like 20-minute, like
But still that's awesome.
Yeah, I do a little bit, right? So like that you're working with energy. Like that's all there is. And your body's not supposed to get sick. Like that's not supposed to be a thing. But you think about how much like sugar people eat, and like
Mm.
sugar's in everything, like everything, even salads, right, at McDonald's, right? Like
Yeah,
salads
ba
have
64 milligrams or grams.
yeah. So like, I mean, you think about that, like how, your body's gonna tell you how sick it is, like by letting you catch something like this. Like, I'm not worried about getting coronavirus. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
Like, my body is super healthy. I did almost die whenever I was living on the streets. I got, uh, except for this fucking smoker's cough that I have, it's because I had to run the heater and it like congests me. But that's dust and breathing it into my lungs. That's a different story. And then vaping, like that doesn't help. But anyway, like, oh yeah, when I was homeless and my body started shutting down, like I could feel it, and it finally got to a point where I was like, couldn't be homeless anymore. Found a stranger who let me stay at their house for like 3 fucking weeks, just staying in their bed, dying. Like I knew I was dying. Like my piss smelled like death. Like I couldn't eat. Like I couldn't even do drugs because my veins were so closed.
Oh.
Like nothing could get in. And finally, that guy, like his house was kind of like the meetup house, and he was just nice enough to let me stay there. But somebody came over and like got me so high that I cared if I lived or died again. Like I was ready to go, and I was ready to die. But after I got high like that, I was like, okay, I gotta go to the emergency room. Like I was my clothes were saturated in sweat. Like shit was like it was pouring off of my clothes. And I walked into the emergency room, and they did their test or whatever, and they were like, you're very lucky that you came when you did, because like you would not have made it. I had like a really high fever, and it had already broke enough for me to sweat, but it was still there. Like the fever was still there. My body was trying to cool off, but it couldn't. And I had a blood clot in my lung.
Oh my
My
God.
kidneys were at like 30%, completely dehydrated. And I had endocarditis, which means that I had a growth on one of the valves in my heart. So like the pump, like, you know, your valves go like this and then they close,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. Like one of them was staying open because there was a growth on it. So like blood could just like do whatever. I was sick. I was in the ICU for like a month. I stayed into this like inpatient hospital for homeless people for 5 months, which was badass, by the way. Lots of really cool encounters with spirituality there. And like, so I know what it's like to be sick, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that was because I was treating my body like shit, and my energy input and output system was completely fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was another one of those like divine intervention type things. There's like, this guy came over and gave me exactly what I needed to live, or to care to live. So, but yeah, like with this virus and stuff, like if your energy input and output is not at like the proper rate, you're gonna get sick. Like
Yeah.
people do it every year. People get viruses every single year at certain times of the year, because it's our body's way of purging. Like you have to. If you
Yeah.
need it, you're gonna do it.
Otherwise, you'll just be wasting away more. And I mean, I had to take blood pressure medicine at 21 because, you know, from the age of 18 to 21, it was party central. And, you know, by the time I was 21, I barely even drink now. I don't even care. I mean, I'd rather be on other things, but like, you know, I was, yeah, woo! 240 pounds, like, and I was smoking cigarettes all the time, then exercise, like walking up the stairs was my exercise, and getting in the car to go to a buffet. Now you're really doing an exercise. Like it was bad, and it took though like getting to the gym and then learning that self-love and a couple of years of the gym and then eating mushrooms, like, and then really having that, wow, I love myself, I love my family, why have I been such like a little sourpuss, feel bad for me whole world, and you know, and like having that gratitude, like, wow, this is spectacular. And I guess, you know, it's almost, it does take getting to that low point, and it really does build a new foundation. And like, I guess it's your way of breaking out of the matrix and then being able to like then land when like then you understand yourself within the matrix versus just
Yes.
another code. Keep working, and yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more question, and then yeah, I can just we can I'll let you go, and then we can rock and roll another time or anything like that. I just thank you so much. It's time's already flown. It's already been an hour and a half, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go. And I hear a storm coming, so I don't want to. I just want to make sure I exit in a good way instead of
Or just like it blends into there.
yeah. Oh no. Well, actually, two questions. One, I didn't know if you had any services or a website, like what your business and all that. If you wanted to, just, like, I guess shout out on that, or if anyone needed something or what it is, if you have one.
Oh, we're gonna pause in between questions. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I currently only offer like consultations or like session work with pretty much anything from shadow work or like divination or like spell work and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Through email only, because I decided to dump Facebook for 2020, and
Nice.
also I dumped my legitimate business in the way that I've always run my business, because I wanted to pursue a new way of living.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of my filtration system. It's like, if you want to work with me, you'll email me. And if
Yeah.
you don't, fucking fine. Like, so that's cool. So it's just Astrid at radicalsoulalchemy.com. And then also TikTok is the same as my name, Astrid KO, but with the double E. My YouTube channel is that too. Mostly just like hanging out with people right now. I've really just taken a step back from working too much with people, but
Mm-hmm.
I also can't help doing like shadow work with people, like
Yeah.
making people like face their shit and take off and have fun and leave in their life. So there's that. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I definitely
Thank
put
you.
a link to your YouTube channel and your other stuff there, and so we can rock that for you. And so if someone was to be building that new foundation and they don't know exactly what they want to do with their life, like kind of getting out of the craziness, the roller coaster, and like kind of like, at the new foundation, what advice would you give someone for like, I guess finding out what they're truly called here to do? If you had,
Do everything. Like, if don't think that you can't do it all. Like, what are you most interested in right now? Pursue that until it burns out. Period. Like,
yeah, because that will
until
either,
or it'll lead you to the next thing.
mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of the reason why I know what I'm here for is because I've learned what I'm not here for. Because my human self always likes to, or all of us, our human self wants us to fit in with that, society standard and all of that, and tells us what society values, right? And
Yeah.
the standards of society. But like, how often have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what are my actual values? Even if to somebody else this value looks like it should probably be number 8 on the list, it's actually number 1 for me. Like, your values do not have to be the same as like the collective.
Yeah.
But like, you have to go off of that. It's like, you have to know what you value first and foremost, and then pursue that thing. So, maybe you thought you wanted power, but really you just wanted connection. So you pursued power because you thought that's what you wanted, but then along the way you learned that it was just really more about the connection. So you pursue connection. So that's the only way it can work. Like, you have to just be willing to take the step in the direction that you think is the right direction, regardless if it is or not. Fuck it if it's not.
Yeah, because at least it will take you to your next step, and just living and knowing everything is divine,
Yeah.
everything's.
It's so simple.
You're right. You're so. And that's the thing. I need to keep myself on that, how simple it really is. Sometimes I like adding a couple whipped layers of some strawberry and chocolate, and sometimes I just need to keep it on the vanilla. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's
And
fun.
sometimes you just have to murder your human. Like, you have to murder your human, like, needs and desires and wants and things. But like, also they're still gonna be there. But like, you have to kill that asshole sometimes. Like, but sometimes you need strawberries and chocolate syrup.
No, you're right. Sometimes,
Like, it's
of course,
both.
cookie dough. Get some cookie dough in there. Get it all in there.
All of life is a paradox, man. It's all, if it's not a paradox, it's not the fucking truth. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's like 100%. But anyways, okay. The end.
Awesome. Yeah. So, thank you so much, Astrid, for coming on. And
So I think I'm gonna do. I think we're gonna also share this on my channel too. So
that'd
you
be
wanna
great.
like
Yeah.
shout out your stuff too?
That'd
Like
be
how,
okay.
yeah.
L the Alchemist, Alchemist. You just have to spell it out. You know how to spell it. Yikes. And TikTok, Instagram. That'll kind of have where my music is coming from, and my YouTube channel. Yeah, you'll L the Alchemist. It's all L the Alchemist because
Yeah.
my name's Leighton, but sometimes when I say it, people say it differently, and I don't really care. But I'm making all my enemies take the L. Yikes! I can't believe I just put
Oh
that
my
on there.
god. That was like the best cringe moment of my life. Thank you.
Yeah. Yikes! 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 I
So
know.
how